بسم الله والحمد لله وصلى الله على رسول الله. قال الله تعالى: يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed in the Quran in Surah Al-Imran: O believers, fear Allah properly as you should, and do not die but as Muslims. So this verse, this is a command from Allah Ta'ala that one needs to live and die as a Muslim. This is lesson 1. What page are we on? I have a different edition. Takreet, what page are we on? Are you on the same page as I am, called The True Belief? Okay, find it and tell everybody what page it is, inshallah. So this verse tells us what? That we need to be on the religion of Islam. Now a few weeks ago, we talked about the purpose of life. What is the ultimate purpose of life? Yes, sir? Yeah, to worship the Creator, Allah Ta'ala. Okay? And we said that anybody who would think, like what are some things that people pursue in this world? We said what are some of the things people go after in this world?
Money.
They go after money. Can the pursuit of money be the ultimate purpose of life? No. Many of the people who get a lot of money, what happens to them? They become what? Miserable. Why do you think they become miserable? Why do you think they become miserable? They worked hard. They say they worked hard for the money. They got sometimes they get a lot of money, and they're what? Miserable. Why? Yeah.
Because they keep spending money and they don't spend time with their friends and family.
A lot of times a person, especially a lot of young guys, when they get out of college, we'll say Muslim people, because a lot of these people now, they don't get married. But the person will spend a lot of time going after a career, or however they're making money, and they spend very little time with their family. And then what happens to the family after a while? What happens? The family, the wife, she doesn't want to be what? She doesn't want to be married to him anymore, although she shouldn't ask for a divorce in general. But she doesn't want to be married to him anymore. How are the children acting?
Quiet.
You think quiet? Very disobedient often, yeah. Why is that? Because the father wasn't what? Wasn't home very much, okay? And also the person, when they go after the money, and if they get it, just for itself. I'm not saying, okay, get money so you can benefit people, benefit the society, benefit Muslims. I'm not saying if a person has that intention, but when he just chases the money for itself, what happens after he gets a chunk of money? What happens? One, he wants more. Two, yeah. He spends it, he has to worry about it. But he realizes what he worked so hard for doesn't bring real what? Doesn't bring real joy and satisfaction. Watch your foot. Okay, it doesn't bring. So then, if he's thinking like in this society, they tell people like basically the ultimate purpose in the way that people think is to get what?
Rich.
To get money, to get rich. And then when they get rich and they don't really have any satisfaction, then what do you think they're going to start to think? Yeah.
That money isn't the true meaning of life.
Yeah, but that's what they always were told. He worked so hard to get it. He might think that life has no meaning. Yeah, no purpose. This is what happens. We said many times in the lessons, and we talk about these these Hollywood stars. Yeah. They have of dunya. They have basically everything you would want of dunya. People want what? Fame. They want money. They want people related to fame. People to love them, on the surface level, to like them. They get all of that, and still they're not what? Happy. Because really, this chasing money or fame, this is not the ultimate purpose of life. But the ultimate purpose is to worship Allah Ta'ala. Allah Ta'ala revealed, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. That Allah has created the jinn and the humans, and they have been ordered to worship Him, worship Allah. So that's it. So that's it. So this verse tells us to die as Muslims. Tikri, did you find it? Okay, what page?
Page 10.
Page 10, everybody. Page 10. So the religion of Islam. Read for us, Lady Tikri.
Islam is the true religion that the sound mind supports and is appropriate for every age and time.
Good, tayyib. When you read some, and I'll stop you, okay? So, the true religion is Islam. Allah Ta'ala revealed, Inna deena indallahi Islam. The only religion accepted by Allah is Islam. And somebody might say, oh, well, you're a Muslim, you're being biased. But how did we explain, like to a reasonable person, how would you explain, when we say Islam is the true religion, don't other religions say our religion is the true religion? Yeah, they do. But what is the core difference between our religion and these other religions we mentioned last time? What's the difference? Do other religions, do they pray? Yeah. Not the Islamic prayer. They pray. I'm not saying it's valid. I didn't say it's a valid prayer, but they what? Pray. Do some of these religions, do they fast? Yeah. Do some of these religions, they talk about having good conduct, you treat your neighbors nicely, your parents nicely. Do they teach this? Yeah. Do some of the religions, they have concept of some type of pilgrimage? I'm not saying Islamic Hajj, listen, I'm saying in their religion, okay? Do these religions, they talk about, sometimes they'll talk about going against your desires? Okay, this exists in other religions. But what distinguishes Islam, when we say Islam is the true religion, somebody says, well, you're a Muslim, you're biased, you're going to say that. But there is a way to show to a reasonable person that indeed this is the true religion. Yes, Sayyid?
We believe Allah.
It's our belief about the Creator. Our religion, we said that what distinguishes our religion, I mean, the main thing, like when you're explaining to someone, is that our belief in the Creator. And we talked last time, we said like the Hindus, what do the people, the women, you see they have a dot on their forehead sometimes. Some of the Hindus, what do they worship? You say, they say.
They worship. They worship rats.
Some of them worship rats. Yeah.
Cows.
They worship suns and moons.
Yeah, they worship the things in the sky, some of them.
Yeah.
It's not, the Hindus don't have one single belief, they have lots of different beliefs. Some of them, they worship idols, okay? Cows was said, I think, right? So clearly, idols are not God. The cow is not the creator of the universe, for example. You see some of these pagan people like living in the jungles of the Amazon, what do they often worship?
The jungle.
Different things in the jungle, right? Animals, they'll say that they worship what they call spirits. In reality, what are they worshiping? The jinn, yeah, the demonic jinn. Yeah, because the demons, they'll try to trick them to worship creations. Yes?
Like one way that you know that the cow isn't God and stuff like that is that there's only one God and there's multiple cows.
Of course, there you go. Yeah, that's clear. So the belief of the Muslims is what distinguishes it, meaning if you want to explain to somebody, well, why do you follow Islam? Or you just do it because your parents do it. But we said that Islam is also religion that's supported by the sound mind. Okay, it's not just like, see, I did not grow up as a Muslim. I became a Muslim. Why? Because I investigated different religions and I compared them. And as you said, that Muslims are the people who truly worship one God. Okay? The Muslims truly worship one God. Now some people might say, well, we believe in one God, but they don't have the proper belief in God. Okay? Like the Christians, they say that they believe in one God, but then they say God is also a Trinity. The Jews, they claim to believe in one God, but then they say God rested, for instance, or that God is inside of heaven, for instance. So that's not the proper belief. That's not the proper belief. As for it being appropriate in every age and every time, very important. Hold on. Yes. You have now among people who call themselves Muslims, who are, we may call them modernist. What do we mean by these people who call themselves modernists? Sammy.
People who change the religion to fit today's standards.
Yeah, when you say today's standards, meaning what? Western, secular, Western standards. Not the standards of people in Papua New Guinea, for example. Always their frame of reference comes back to Western society. Meaning right now, what is popular at this minute. Yeah, this minute. So these people, how do we, now if they claim this is kufr, this is blasphemy. The religion is appropriate for all what? Ages and places. But we don't change the religion to fit the time. Rather, we try to change the time to fit the religion. Okay. How do we deal with this mindset? Let's go back a couple of steps. Why do the Western people say that, well, our religion, it has to fit with the time? What's the backstory for them to say that? Because again, we live in their country. We need to understand how they what?
Baptist Christianity.
Their backstory is what? You said it.
It happened in Christianity.
Their backstory is Christianity. What do we mean their backstory is Christianity and religion changes with the time according to them?
Does it have to do with the Old Testament and the New Testament?
Not so much, but that's a kind of a secondary point. But yeah, you could kind of weave that into the narrative. What's the backstory, Ahmed Ibrahim?
The next, good question.
For us, we say that we don't change our religion because of whatever is happening, happens to be popular in the society. For Western society, that is their claim. And we said the backstory for how did they get to that? Because many societies don't believe this, traditionally. So how did these people get to the point of where they're saying that, well, the religion has to change to fit the society? And we said Christianity is the reason for that. But what's the connection? How did that come about?
Part of it was the disbanding of the church.
What's that?
Of the church.
The Catholic Church, yeah, and the Protestant, early Protestant churches. What happened is for a long time, the people in Europe, the Western Europeans, the majority of them were all what? Catholics, okay? Christian Catholics. So they did not talk about progress because in their mind, what were they trying to do? Preserve the tradition of the church. To preserve the values of the church, okay? But then when they had the Protestant Revolution, when did this start? Roughly, when did this start?
14.
The early 1500s. Remember Columbus came to America, what, 1492. And then all within that same era, or in the same era, about 1517, Martin Luther, not Martin Luther King, Martin Luther, that Martin Luther broke away from the Catholic Church. Okay? And then he said that he ended up starting what's called the Protestant Revolution or Reformation. So when that happened, you find that more and more of the Europeans start breaking away from Christianity. They start seeing things in the Bible don't make sense. They see that things that are related to what they were finding out in science, they didn't add up. You follow? So then what did they do? Eventually they got to the point, because the Christians were slaughtering each other for a couple of centuries, the Protestants and Catholics, and then they came to the conclusion, they said, we have to just agree to, we have to agree to disagree. Because they knew that they can't, can one group prove that they're right over the other? No. We said a person says 2 + 2 is 5 and the other one says 2 + 2 is 3. Can one prove to the other that he's right? No, there's no way. Then the same with the Christianity. Both of them were what? Wrong. So then they said, okay, religion is something you do in your private life, and then you have your whatever you do with the society. So they separated, they say, separation of what? Church and? Separation of church and state. Okay? Because they said, well, the religion, that's something, you do on the side, the government will do its own thing. Okay? In our tradition, historically, you don't have this separation. Okay? Ideally, the person who should lead, who should be the ruler, should be among the most pious of the people and the most learned of the people. Because Islamically, as a Muslim, who would you want you to be your ruler?
The one who knows all the rules.
Yeah, the one who is a good Muslim. Don't you want the best of the Muslims to rule you? I mean, the best, meaning among the best who's qualified. Okay? You want among the best of the Muslims to be your leader. Doesn't that make sense? Yeah. But for them, they realize religion went in one direction, and then the worldly matters went in a what? Another direction. So in our tradition, we don't have this. This is something from the Christian tradition. But for the modernists, what do they claim? These ones who claim to be Muslims, what do they claim?
When they say that no matter if you're Jew,
Well, that's one of their beliefs.
Christian or Muslim, you're all going to heaven.
That's one of the beliefs of the modernists, is that it's called, the technical term is called perennialism. They say that all the religions at essence are the same. We say no. The ultimate purpose of religion should be to worship the Creator. And it's clear these other religions are not worshiping the Creator. Clearly, anybody using their mind is very clear that a cow is not God. Shiva is not God. Is that clear? Osiris is not God. So it's very clear that these things cannot be the creator of the universe. But let's continue. So these modernist people, they took the Christian tradition and then now they're trying to force it into the Muslim tradition, telling us that we need to change with the times. What's one of the problems with that, even just looking at it in general? Of course, religiously it's a problem, but what's one of the issues when they say you need to change the religion with the times? What will be among the problems with that claim? I think we need to, because these are the issues you need to deal with right now.
The times change.
Yeah, and not only do the times change, what about the change of the times? Meaning, what are the norms of the society when we say the times change?
It gets worse.
Yeah, that's one. That's right. Sammy, what else? They say the times change. Indeed, they do change.
It goes back and forth sometimes.
Yeah, not only that, a lot of the change that's taking place with the society is being engineered. Meaning social, you know what I mean by social engineering? You have people who plan on how to manipulate the masses of the people. One of the basic things, even if without going to conspiracy level, one of the basic things that they do, what do we get exposed to when you turn on the TV?
Commercials.
What are commercials? They are a form of social engineering. Why are we dressed the way we're dressed?
Because of the advertisements.
Because of the advertising. Meaning, maybe I didn't see it on TV, but this is what is available because the masses of people, this is what they buy. Okay? We dress, why does a person want this car as opposed to another car?
Because all the people have this type of car.
Because they advertise it. Look at the sneakers. Why do people, one week they'll pay $200 for a pair of sneakers, and then 3 months later, they don't even want those sneakers anymore. Because of the what?
Advertisement.
And these people who do advertising, they study psychology. When you look at an advertisement, like in a magazine, everything in that magazine is planned. You follow me? If they show a woman her hairstyle, they plan her hairstyle. What kind of makeup she has on, whether she has a wedding ring on, all of that is what? The color of her color of her outfit is planned, the background, every single thing. Why are they doing that? Because they're trying to what? They're trying to manipulate the masses of the people. So if somebody says, well, you have to change with the times, well, you have to ask yourself, who are changing the times? Do you think these people are doing this to benefit humanity? No. So if our religion were to change with the times, according to them, then what would happen? How is this a problem religiously? How is this a problem? How do Muslims know what is right and what is wrong? Yes?
They read the Quran.
Mm-hmm. That's good. I want something a little bit, you're right, absolutely, but I want to make it a little bit clearer. How do Muslims know what's right and what's wrong? To whom was the Quran revealed?
Sayyidina Muhammad.
Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
Sallallahu
So how do we know what's right and wrong? From what the Prophet
said.
taught, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He taught, the Quran was revealed to him and he taught the Quran. And then there's also his sunnah, what he did, his actions. You follow me? So how do we know what's right and wrong? From what the Prophet, from what he taught, from what he said. Okay? So if somebody comes along and they do something which goes against what the Prophet said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then you know it's wrong. Are there things in this society that go against what the Prophet taught? Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. 1 or 2 or 5 things? A lot of things. And as we've said, somebody also said earlier, what happens with the standards in this society? They keep what? They keep changing. So these modernists, what would they be telling us to do as Muslims? What would happen to our religion? It would keep what? Changing. To the point, it clearly, by any standard, of course, by any standard, it wouldn't be what? Islam anymore. Because they would say the religion is supposed to keep what?
Changing.
Keep changing. So be careful. These modernist people, it's not like what they claim. Now, in truth, you can be a good Muslim, whether you are living in this society or you're living in maybe a simple society, like a farming society. Either case, you can still be a good Muslim. But are there challenges to being a good Muslim in this society?
Yes.
Yes, there are. Yes, Ahmed?
Are we still on page 11?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm just talking about mentioning some things about Islam being appropriate for every age and time. All right. So our religion, the teachings, the core, the basic teachings of the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they don't change. And if somebody wants to say they change, and what would happen to the religion? It would just
Why?
that what would happen to the religion? It would be destroyed. Do you follow me, Brother Sam? It would be destroyed. All right, Lady Tikrit, continue. It is, meaning Islam.
It is the religion of all the prophets from the first of them, Adam, to the final one, Muhammad, may peace be upon him.
Nah. So all the prophets, they followed the religion of Islam. Do not use this phrase, Abrahamic faiths. You know, some people use this phrase, right? They say Abrahamic faiths refer to the religion of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Don't use this. Because it may give the person the impression that Ibrahim alayhi salam, that Abraham had a religion other than Islam. What is accurate, sit up Taha. What is accurate to say is that the Jews, the Christians, and the Muslims all claim to follow Prophet Ibrahim. Meaning that we regard him as being like the, how would we say? Because for them they don't say the same thing we say. That we all claim to be following what Prophet Ibrahim followed. Meaning the Jews make that claim, the Christians make the claim, and we make the claim. But we know in reality, Ibrahim did not come with a religion called Judaism, and for sure, he did not come with a religion called Christianity. Yes, brother?
Do Christians and Jews, do they call Abraham a prophet?
I believe so. I'm thinking about the Jews, no doubt. I think the Christians do too. Now, some of the people that we call prophets, they don't consider prophets, like Dawood, for example. They don't regard him as a prophet. They say he's a king. But he's a prophet of Allah Ta'ala. Yes?
Like, is it better if you don't know the phrase than like you don't say it?
If you don't know it, if you don't know the meaning of what you said, you shouldn't say it. Or you should, or what
The phrase about,
Abrahamic faiths they call it. Don't use it.
yeah, but like, is it better if you don't know it?
If you don't know it, no, you should know it because people around you are going to,
Say it?
and you need to know. Oh, this is what they mean. Okay, so in that case, some things if you don't need to know it, you don't need to know it. But in this is something you should be familiar with because people say it and they say it in a way, even though they claim to be Muslim, they say it in a way to confuse people. In truth, all of the prophets, they had one religion, the religion of Islam. And it's not like the other religions we mentioned, some of them like Buddhism, the people they worship, at least some of them they worship
Stones.
Buddha. Okay? Christianity, the people they worship, Jesus, and one of his titles is the Christ that they call him. So clearly these are religions named after people. Allah Ta'ala, the true religion of Allah Ta'ala is not named after a person. So we don't refer to Islam like what some of the Western people used to say about our religion. They call it Muhammadanism, giving people the impression that we follow or worship Prophet Muhammad. Is that clear? So we say Islam, you can say Muhammadiyya. You're following the religion of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But we don't worship Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. All right, Tikrit, Iqra'i.
Muhammad, may peace be upon them all. Allah sent the prophets to guide the people to what is good and beneficial, to drive them to the piety and to teach them to be steadfast on this religion until the end of their lives.
Very good. Barakallahu bikum. Okay, so we mentioned again, the prophets, they all came to tell the people to worship the one creator and not to worship any of the creation. Their belief was all the same, but some of the messengers, the laws that they came with were different. Not the belief is the same, but the laws from one messenger to another were different. Okay, like we've mentioned in the laws of Prophet Musa alayhi salam, those laws were stricter than the laws that we follow. What was the case in the laws of Prophet Musa if a person got his clothes contaminated with urine? Do you remember what they had to do in the laws of Prophet Moses alayhi salam? If your clothes, like the person, he was in the bathroom and some toilet water splashed on him. Okay, what does he need to do?
Oh, wait, now or
Now. What can he do?
Wash it.
He can what? Rinse it off with pure water. Okay, I mean, without going into the details. But in the laws of Prophet Musa, you could not rinse it off to purify it. What did you have to do? Sayyid Ahmed said it. You had to what? Take that and cut that piece of cloth out. You could not purify it. Okay, so those laws of Prophet Musa were more strict, or were stricter than the laws of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The belief was the one belief, but the laws were different. Okay, so be aware of that. Now, regarding among the reasons that Allah Ta'ala sent prophets and messengers to educate people about the proper belief in God, and also to know what would be beneficial to the human being in this life and in the afterlife. Yes, sir. Just stretching. Okay. So we said that how would you know what's to your benefit or detriment after you die? Is this something known by logic? No, it's not known by logic. So how do we know what's to your benefit or to your harm after death? You can't know it by logic because of what the prophet taught, or the prophets in general, what they taught. It's not something that's known by logic. But what the prophets teach doesn't contradict logic. Alright, do you follow the case here? Some things you can know just by using logic. Okay? Some things you can't know by logic, but if it's true, that true thing, it doesn't contradict logic. Alright? Give me a scenario, something you can know by logic. Give me something that you can know by logic, other than religion. Don't mention about the belief in God. Something other than that. Yes?
2 plus 2 is 4.
Okay, you can know that 2 plus 2 is 4. Yes?
At a red traffic light, you stop.
Is that known by logic? No.
Oh,
No, that's just what the norm of our society. Okay? If everybody were colorblind, what would happen?
They would all get going.
Okay? That's not, what's a case that you know by logic? That, if you have a pizza, what am I going to say
A
next?
circle.
No, not about the circle.
It's cut in 8.
That the entire pizza would be bigger than any part. The whole is bigger than a part. And a part is smaller than the whole. You got it? Okay, this is something known by. Do we need to go get a pizza and then demonstrate it?
Yes.
No, you don't need to do it. Okay, you might want to eat it, but you don't need to get it. But this is something known by logic. Okay? Regarding the belief in God, that we know that there's a creator, then we mentioned that the universe could not be what? Self-created, and it could not be beginningless. So something other than the universe had to have made the universe. And we say this is God, the creator of all time. But what's something that it cannot be known by logic itself, but it doesn't contradict logic? It cannot be known by logic itself, but it doesn't contradict logic. I gave an example. I used it many times in the lesson.
It's raining.
Yes.
Praying 5 times a day.
Yeah, that's a good one, but Ahmed said it. You're good, yeah. What? Go ahead.
It's raining in let's see, LA.
Los Angeles. Well, I don't want to use that city. Give me another city.
Uh, you want a desert place or
It doesn't matter. I just don't want you to mention use that city.
Springfield?
Missouri.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now this example's not so good because people have smartphones. Okay. But if somebody said now it's raining in Springfield, Missouri, what does logic say to that?
It's possible.
Does it say yes? Does it say no? What does logic say?
Possible.
Possible. That's all it says. It can't say yes and it can't what? Can't say no. It's just what it's conceivable, especially this time of year. It's likely, or it's possible, not likely, but it's possible that it's raining now in Springfield, Missouri. So this is a knowledge that's known by. So this is not a knowledge known by logic. It's known by your senses or by reliable report. Okay. So it's not something that you can know, but just by what? By logic. Like it. So the events of the afterlife or the laws of the religion, they're not something known by logic, but they don't contradict logic. All right? So, for example, the khuf. What is the obligatory part to wipe when you wear the khuf? You know, the khuf is like the leather sock. What's the obligatory part to wipe of the khuf? If you know, you know. If you don't know, don't guess. Yeah, usually common sense, so to speak. Although this is not the basis of the religion. Like this common sense, but will come to the mind at first. This is what I mean. Okay, you have this leather sock. You can just wipe over it, or you can wipe on it. Let's say. Person says, well, if I have to wipe on it for the wudu, what comes to your mind first? Well, I would wipe on the what? Bottom, because that's the part that's going to get more dirty. But the obligation of the khuf, you have to wipe on the top. How do we know that you have to wipe on the top? By revelation, the Prophet told us, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This isn't something that you can know just by using your mind, you see? But in our religion, we do use our mind. There's a balance between using our mind and also, and let's say that we use our mind to understand the revelation. And there's nothing in what the Prophet taught, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that contradicts our minds. Everybody got this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so this is important. Tayyib, let's continue. Piety. Can you read for me, Brother Farid?
Piety occurs by doing all the obligations and avoiding all the sins. Whoever achieves this state becomes a pious person. The first among these obligations is knowing and believing in Allah Ta'ala and His Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
So the Prophet said, "Afdalul a'mali imanun billahi wa rasulih." That the greatest, the best of all the deeds is to believe properly, to believe in Allah and His Messenger. Okay? So this is, we said earlier, what's the ultimate purpose of life? To worship the Creator. How do you worship the Creator? Well, first you have to have the proper belief in the Creator. Then to know, well, what did the Creator require me to do? And how would you know that? You know that from the teachings of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You see, you're going step by step, like you're building a house. When you build a house, you start building the walls first. What do you build first?
Foundation.
You build the foundation. Okay. And the same, when we learn the knowledge, we start with the foundation.
Yeah.
All right. Continue, Brother Farid, professing the two shahadas.
In regards to the last one, who wants to embrace Islam, the belief is not accepted without uttering the two testifications in addition to
Faith, the two testifications, period. All right. So if a person is not a Muslim, they want to become a Muslim, then what do they do immediately? They say the Shahada. They can say it in Arabic or in their own language. What are some misconceptions regarding this, Ahmed, Sayyid Ahmed? say that they say, or some people claim, or some people do, regarding giving a person the shahada?
I'm not really sure, but
Okay, alright, that's fine, that's fine. Some people, they have the habit, they'll tell, this is blasphemy. The one who wants to become a Muslim, they'll tell him, go take a ghusl first, take a bath first. This is blocking, slowing the person down from coming into Islam, and blocking someone from Islam is itself blasphemy. Is this clear? So if somebody says, I want to become a Muslim, you tell them, repeat after me, no one is God except Allah, Muhammad is
Isn't
the
that-
messenger of Allah.
Did they like just get the idea from like being like used to being around like the Christians or something, or like the Jews, like because don't they get like hepatized or something like that?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
they
that's a good question. I'm not sure where this comes from, but it is something spread in this country.
or like the way it like. Okay, forget it.
Okay. All right. So the person who wants to become a Muslim, and you immediately give him give him the shahada. He's not required, as Brother Dawood said. He doesn't need to get what they say, quote unquote, baptized. This is in the Christian tradition. Another thing that they say is that they say you need to have witnesses when you take your shahada to become a Muslim. No. The person can take their shahada in private. But often they'll go after they took their shahada. Then they may go in public, they may go to the mosque and pronounce the shahada to let the people, the Muslims, know that this guy is a what? Muslim. But you don't tell him, stay on blasphemy until you get to the mosque on Friday or whatever time. You tell him, this guy said, I want to become a Muslim. You say, repeat after me immediately. Some people, they'll tell him, go home and think about it. You don't. He wants to get out of blasphemy. You don't tell him stay in blasphemy. To encourage the person to stay in blasphemy is itself blasphemy. You follow the logic here? It's easy to understand. One time the Prophet ﷺ was giving the khutbah. Somebody stood up in the crowd and he said, I want to become a Muslim. Immediately the Prophet stopped giving the khutbah ﷺ and gave the man his shahada. You see, he what? Immediately gave the person the shahada. So you don't delay. And the last problem that comes up with this issue, or common problem that comes up with this issue, is somebody wants to become a Muslim, but this ignorant person, he tells him, before you can become a Muslim, you have to stop doing this, stop doing that, stop doing this, stop doing that. You don't tell him you have, no, he wants to get out of blasphemy. This is the most important thing. Immediately you give him the shahada. Think about it. How many Muslims don't commit any sins? Very, 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 very what? Few. Very few. Okay. So to tell this person you have to stop sinning to become a Muslim doesn't make any sense. He's doing the worst sin by being in what? Blasphemy. He's saying, I want to get out of the worst sin, let me get a start. So immediately, this person, you give him the shahada. You don't tell him, you need to stop eating pork, you need to get rid of your girlfriend, you need to stop going to the, Tupelo Tunica to go gamble, you need to stop doing this, you need to stop doing that, this. How far are you going to go? How many things does he need to stop in his mind? You understand? You tell him, become a Muslim, you say the shahada, and you give it to him immediately. Is that clear? And then what happened, we said often, if this person is around the Muslims, often what happens to a lot of the sins that he commits? What's going to happen?
Gone.
Usually, often, when you're around the Muslim, I'm talking about observant Muslims who are trying to better
Oh,
themselves.
you make yourself look like a good in front of them.
Well, not just that, but after a while, we said last night also, Dawood, sometimes you have to fake it till you make it, yeah, Dawood, okay? You're around good people. Is this person going to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to go down the street to the pork barbecue place? Is he going to say that when he's around good Muslims?
No.
Is he going to say, oh yeah, I'm going to go get me some alcohol after I leave you guys?
No.
No, after a while being around the good Muslims who are striving to be good. They might not be good yet, but they're striving, they're working on it. What happens? He changes his what? Habits. If a person's around bad people a lot, what happens usually?
He will be bad.
Those bad people will what?
Influence him.
Influence him. Okay? The Prophet told us your friend, your companion is like your mirror. He's going to reflect you and you're going to reflect what? Him. So if you want to improve yourself, then one of the first things to do is get rid of the bad company and find good company. And if you can't find good company, then stay alone. Okay? But the first thing, one of the first things in reforming yourself, getting better, you have to what? Cut off the bad people. Even what do they say about a bad apple? You guys don't know this is a old thing.
You put it next to
What
the
does it
other
say?
apples and goes bad.
Yeah, one bad apple spoils the whole bunch. You have a rotten, you have like a basket. Old days used to keep the apples in baskets, right? Okay, you have these good crisp apples, and you put that rotten apple there in the middle of that basket. What's going to happen after 3-4
Bacteria and
days?
fruit flies.
The whole bunch is going to go what? Bad. Because of what? The influence of one and a meaning for among people. You have a group of friends, but one of them is bad, then what happens to the whole group usually? He can influence the whole group. Unless those people are strong, and then they can influence him. But some people, they have the weak mindset. They'll say, well, I'll go hang out with the bad kids so I can influence them to become good. You think that's a good plan? No, it's a bad plan. MashaAllah. Tayyib. So be careful of your company. Be careful of your company. Okay, I'll read some, inshallah. So the person to become a Muslim, they have to say the testification of faith. They can say it in any language that gives its meaning. They could say, for instance, no one is God but Allah. Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. You could say it in Arabic, you could say it in French, you could say it in Spanish, you could say it in Farsi, Persian language. You can say it in whichever language. Now also the person, if he's praying, you have to say the Shahada. When do you say the Shahada in the prayer? Yes. So in the Tashahhud, the person will say the Shahada there. But that's not saying the Shahada to become a Muslim. Tayyib, let's continue. Lady Tikrit, read for us some more. The meaning of the two Shahadas. The meaning of?
The meaning of Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah is I know I believe and I declare that no one is God except Allah. No one deserves to be worshipped except Allah.
What does I-E mean? I period, E period.
Does it mean international?
No.
Example?
No. Id est. That's a Latin phrase. That is. E.g. is for example. Okay, E.g. is for example, I.e. is that is. Okay. So the meaning of Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah is I know, meaning I have the proper understanding. I believe, which means I what? In this case, belief, we mean the person accepts it in the heart. And they what? And they utter it. So you have three components. What are the three components? Sit up, guys. What are the three components? Knowing, meaning understanding. What's the second component?
Believing.
Believing, meaning accepting. And the third component?
Saying it.
Saying it. Okay? Somebody might know the truth, but they don't what?
Believe it.
They don't believe it, they don't accept it. In the case here, belief, we mean accept it. They know the truth, but they don't what? Accept. Some people, they want to follow the truth, but they don't have the proper understanding. You see? They want to follow the truth, but they don't have the proper understanding. Okay? And also utter means what? To say it. Tayyib. So when a person says, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, he's saying, I know, I believe, and I declare that no one is God except Allah. That is, no one deserves to be worshipped except Allah. What is the definition Islamically of worship, Brother Umar? Islamically, when we say worship, what do we mean? Islamically.
you said there's a new, I don't know the wording.
No, you need to know the wording here, okay? Some of the things are kind of like, you can, because this is, when we say worship, we have to mean it in the Islamic context, because in English we use it in different ways. People use it in different ways. Brother Sammy, what's the meaning of worship? Definition Islamically.
The ultimate humility and submission to Allah.
What was the first part? The ultimate?
Humility and
Yeah.
submission to Allah.
The ultimate humility, subjugation, submission to Allah Ta'ala. Submission. Which is rightfully for Allah Ta'ala. Okay? So worship is not just loving someone, worship is not just following someone, but rather worship is it, or fearing someone, this is not worship. Worship is this ultimate degree of submission, humbling oneself, and subjugation. The meaning, قال المؤلف, the meaning of أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله is I know, I believe, and I declare that our Master Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, who is the son of Abdullah, is the messenger of Allah to both the humans and the jinn, and that he is truthful in all that he conveyed from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Prophet Muhammad was sent to the humans, and who else? To the jinn. The angels don't need prophets because they automatically, by their very nature, they obey Allah ta'ala. So the Prophet was sent not only sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to humanity, but also to the jinn. So this is something amazing to think about, mashallah. Let's read a little bit more. We're almost done. Takreet, finish for us, please.
To confirm that Allah is the one and only God, and that Muhammad.
Oh, Afwan, go back. The purpose of the two testifications. Say it that way.
The purpose of the two testifications: to confirm that Allah is the one and only God, and that Muhammad is His messenger, while rejecting that which contradicts this.
Now, so the person, when he says the testification of faith, he is affirming that Allah is the one and only Creator, the one and only God, the one and only one who deserves to be worshipped. That Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is the messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when he's rejecting what contradicts it, like people who pray to idols, or someone who claims that he's a prophet after Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allah Ta'ala revealed in the Quran, وَمَنْ لَمْ يُؤْمِن بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ فَإِنَّا أَعْتَدِنَا لِلْكَافِرِينَ سَعِيرًا. This verse is very strong. Earlier I mentioned this idea of perennialism. What did we say perennialism means? This was
Did you say something about Christians and Jews and Muslims being the same? We'll all categorize.
Among the bad beliefs of the modernists is that they believe in perennialism. And they say one of their bad claims is that they say that whatever religion you follow, if you go back to the essence of that religion, that they're all the same. Which is not true, because we just said the other religions in reality, they don't worship the Creator. Alright? So this verse, what does it tell us? What's the meaning of this verse, Lady Takreet? The one I mentioned, وَمَنْ لَمْ يُؤْمِنْ بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ فَإِنَّا أَعْتَدِنَا لِلْكَافِرِينَ سَعِيرًا. What does it mean?
Those who do not believe in Allah and His messenger are blasphemers, for whom Allah has prepared hellfire.
Naam. So for a person to be a believer, the opposite of a believer, if you wish, is a what? Blasphemer. So a blasphemer is a person who does not believe in Allah. And when we say by believing in Allah, we mean believing in Allah properly. You see, underline the word what? Properly. Not just saying, oh, I believe in God, or I believe in Allah. Person has to believe in Allah properly, and he has to believe in the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So how does this verse refute the perennialist? Because they say, oh, well, the Christians and Jews, they believe in God. And we have to stop them even on that point. And they say, so they'll be saved in the hereafter. How do you refute them with this verse? Go ahead, Rafiya. How do you refute them with this verse? The verse, the meaning, whoever does not believe in Allah and His Messenger, they are disbelievers, blasphemers, for whom Allah has prepared the hellfire.
You want me to? So you want me to do it?
Ask Brother Yahya.
So you want me to explain?
Explain, how does this verse refute the perennialists? The people who claim all the religions are the same in essence.
Because there has to be one God. And
Okay, well you jumped. You got it, but you jumped ahead. I want to just stick with this verse to use it
Alright.
against, because these people claim to be Muslims. You're not talking with people who don't claim to be Muslim. They claim to be Muslims.
Alright. People are supposed to believe. They're supposed to accept. They're supposed to speak the two testifications of faith.
Okay.
And then the people.
Okay, Yahya, slow down, because we want to explain, put it in order. Okay?
Alright.
So hold on. Yes, maybe Ahmed, can you explain it, inshallah?
So, the ayah you said that all the people who don't believe in the Prophet and in Allah.
In Allah, and say it the other, in Allah and the
Allah and the
Prophet.
prophets are blasphemous.
Uh-huh.
But what they mean by that is the correct belief. And
Okay, good. Part 1, the verse is saying you have to have the what?
Correct.
The proper belief in God. The Christians, for example, they don't have the proper belief in God.
And they don't believe.
For example, hold on, slow down. Okay. The Buddhists, clearly they don't have the proper belief in God. The Hindus, they don't have the proper belief in God. Okay. So that's one, but they do claim to believe in God or so-called gods. Okay, so they do make that claim, but they don't even believe in reality properly. But you can kind of put that to the side. Okay, meaning, because the second part makes it even more clear.
None of them believe in Prophet Muhammad.
Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So do the Christians, do they claim to believe in Prophet Muhammad? No. Do the Buddhists, do they claim to believe in Prophet Muhammad? No. Do the Hindus, do they claim to believe in Prophet Muhammad? No. So the verse tells us to not be a blasphemer. To be a believer, you have to believe in Allah and the Messenger, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And these other religions, in reality, they don't believe in God. They're praying to things often in their what?
Imagination.
They're praying to things in their imagination. They're praying to things that they made with their hands, things in nature, praying to the jinn. So in reality, they're not praying to God, but they claim to pray to God. But for sure, they don't believe in Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So that's how we summarize that. We make it clear that to be saved, the person has to believe in the Creator properly and in Prophet Muhammad and all of the prophets. Alayhimus salam. Walhamdulillah wa sallallahu ala rasulillah.